Happy Wednesday, boys and girls. Oh my goodness, yesterday was a beautiful day. My cheeks are a little red. I got a little bit of sun yesterday. It was really, really nice. I hope you guys got a chance to go outside or at least see the sunlight, get some fresh air, and I hope everybody's staying safe and at home in your backyards. So on Monday, we reviewed and practiced making inferences based on a character's actions. So we talked about the giant Atlas and some of his actions, whereas today we are going to talk about using the author's point of view to make inferences. So on Monday, we talked about a character's actions and making inferences based on their actions. Today, we're going to talk about the author's point of view and how seeing it from the author's point of view or the author's perspective, how we can also make inferences, how the author feels about the characters they wrote about. Remember, an author's perspective could be about a certain topic. It could be about the characters in the story, like Atlas or Hercules. And the way we know about an author's perspective is by looking at text evidence. So today we are going to reread paragraphs 25 and 26, and we are going to take a look at how the author feels about the character Atlas based on the text evidence, based on what our author wrote. If we look back at the beginning of our story, Hercules' Quest, we know that this story is by Nathaniel Hawthorne. So I'm going to call him Hawthorne. So today we're going to take a look at a question. We're going to reread paragraphs 25 and 26 of Hercules' Quest. What is Hawthorne's point of view about Atlas? So Hawthorne, remember, that is our author. And his being left holding the sky in the end. How do you know? So I want you to take a moment and I want you to reread paragraphs 25 and 26. And I want you to look for different clues that would tell you how our author, Hawthorne, feels about Atlas. Go ahead and pause the video. Okay, now that you've reread paragraphs 25 and 26, you can see some of my annotations of things that I underlined. These were clues that helped me figure out how Nathaniel Hawthorne thinks about his character, Atlas, in the story. And remember, Atlas is that giant that's holding up the sky. So our graphic organizer today simply tells us to read the directions, which we just reread paragraphs 25 and 26. Then we looked for some text evidence, and these are some examples that I found. So I underlined, that's no more than fair. That tells me that Atlas is fair. I can infer that. Hawthorne must think that he is a fair character if he says that in the story. Look at the second one. Had no unkind feeling towards Hercules. Since the author put that in the story, it tells me that Hawthorne is not a mean character. Atlas is not a mean character. So I don't think that Hawthorne meant for him to be an evil character in the story. Let's look at the third one. Acting with a too selfish consideration of his own ease. By the author putting that in the story, it tells me that Atlas is too self-centered. He cares very much about just himself. The author also calls him thick-witted, which means that Atlas is not very smart or bright. And our last one, number 5, where it rightly belonged. When something is where it rightly belongs, that means that it turns out the way it was supposed to. The outcome is as it should be. Things turned out the way they were supposed to turn out. So your assignment today is to take a look at our evidence and the inferences we can make about how Hawthorne feels about this character, his point of view, his perspective. And I want you to answer the exit ticket at the bottom. So you're not actually doing anything in the graphic organizer today except the exit ticket at the bottom. So, which sentence from the story supports the idea that Atlas is nice? So, at some point, Hawthorne, our author, wrote text evidence that would lead us to infer that Atlas can be and is at some points in this story a nice character. So, look at your choices. A, I went ahead and eliminated B, C, and D. Which one of these tells us and leads us to infer that Atlas is a nice character at some point in our story?